Island is the main island of the Batanes province. It is where Basco, the provincial capital, can be found. It is part of the Luzon volcanic arc. Batanes is known as the home of the winds due to its picturesque terrain and constantly blowing by strong winds straight from Taiwan. Aside from that, it is the home of Batan tribes, which have similar cultural and linguistic aspects to Taiwanese people. Batanes is one of the smallest provinces in the Philippines. Batan Island is the most populated island of the province. It is composed of 4 municipalities, namely Basco, Ivana, Iugan, and Mahatao. The island is chiefly known for Mount Iraya, a dormant volcano standing at 1,517 meters, whose last eruption was recorded in 505 AD. Amboy Home Hotel is a beachfront hotel conveniently located along National Highway of peaceful Barangay Chanarian, Basco, Batanes. It is approximately 5 minutes drive from Basco Airport, has a good proximity to beaches, establishments, historical sites, and other natural and endemic wonders of Batanes. The spot itself is the gateway to the southern bliss of Batanes. The property has 32 rooms with maximum capacity of 90 persons, an in-house restaurant, an organic vegetable garden that sustains the restaurant. Amboy Our first stop was the scenic Vayang Rolling Hills. It is a vast land of slopes and hills that offers the view of the ocean at one side and Mount Iraya in the other. While the scenic view is the reason for tourists to flood it, the locals use it to graze their cows and goats. It is a sight to have during the summer nights with blue skies and greenery taking up most of what you would see. But in the winter season, while the grasses are still green and you will find animals grazing in the hills and gray skies with strong whipping and howling winds from the Pacific. It is a different experience altogether. Is the main island of the Batanes province. It is where Basco, the provincial capital, can be found. It is part of the Luzon volcanic arc. Batanes is known as the home of the winds due to its picturesque terrain and constantly blowing by strong winds straight from Taiwan. Aside from that, it is the home of Batan tribes, which have similar cultural and linguistic aspects to Taiwanese people. Batanes is one of the smallest provinces in the Philippines. Batan Island is the most populated island of the province. It is composed of 4 municipalities, namely Basco, Ivana, Iugan, and Mahatao. The island is chiefly known for Mount Iraya, a dormant volcano standing at 1,517 meters, whose last eruption was recorded in 505 AD. Basco is a municipality itself in the province of Batanes. The town is named after General Jose Basco, who led the Philippines to freedom from the control of New Spain, which is today Mexico. It is the commercial and business center of Batanes. You will find the airport, hotels, and restaurants within the town proper. It is fairly small and everything is accessible on foot. The buildings and houses are low-lying with strong winds frequently the town. Mahatao Boat Shelter was the biggest infrastructure in the time that it was built, last October 2005, to protect the boats and serve as shelters for vessels during bad weather that Batanes is frequent to have. It has since become a popular tourist stop since then and is best viewed from the elevated road and from the shelter itself. Batanes is also known for its slashing strong winds on the rocky and rolling cliff sides. The Chawa View Deck is one of the breathtaking spots in Batan Island, as one can marvel at the formidable cliffs on the island against the strong waves from the sea. You will also see glimpses of large rock formations near the shore that breaks incoming waves into foamy water reaching the cliffside. It has steps leading down to the shoreline that is treacherous during wet seasons, and salt water from the sea makes every step slippery to take. Enjoy a different kind of beach experience in Batanes. As the name suggests, Valugan, Boulder Beach is famous for its 3-kilometer shoreline filled with round boulders and smaller stones. Because of the beach's rough and rugged terrain, swimming is not allowed here. If you want to take a leisurely stroll along the shoreline, it is best to bring non-slip shoes to avoid any accidents. Batanes' 3 inhabitable islands have many churches, and the most recognizable one is the Tucon Chapel, as locals call it, the Mount Carmel Church. It was built by local fishermen and opened on May 3, 2008. It is famous for its traditional stone house design, orange roof, and painted interiors. The chapel's ceiling is adorned by the paintings of its patron saints, carefully done by the Pasita Abad Center for the Arts Scholars. Standing proudly on top of the hill, the Tucon Chapel is also a great place to see the convergence of the Pacific Ocean and the West Philippine Sea. This served as a shelter for the Japanese troops during World War II. While the Japanese tunnels are open for tourists to see, make sure to bring your own flashlight if you want to explore the interconnected network of tunnels. If you are claustrophobic, better skip this part of the tour. The Tayed Lighthouse is located on the other side of the Batan Island, in Mahatao, and is just as old as the Basco Lighthouse. Its much older predecessor, which is nearby, was built in the 1700s and is currently non-functional. It also has a white painted body and red lantern room, but the Tayed Lighthouse is hexagonal in shape, unlike its sister in Basco, which has a round column. It is also less accessible to tourists and can be seen from the Duria fishing village in Raku Apayaman, a Marlborough country. The Tayed Lighthouse faces the Pacific Ocean. While you're in Mahatao, visit the Duria fishing village and soak in the local activities, especially in the months of March and April, where the age-old ritual of Kapay Vanu Vanu is observed. The local fishermen perform this ritual to make sure that the incoming fishing season is a bountiful one. Farm-to-table goodness at Cafe du Tucon. Most of the vegetables, beef, and pork we serve are locally produced and organically raised by farmers of ctto Tucon and from our own backyard. Our seafoods are freshly caught and sourced from local fishermen. We also make our own jams and bread.